Hi Gemini, welcome to your 2017 Astrological Overview. It's Rena. So I just wanted to let you know that the reason I'm recording it in video form, even though I'm not picking any tarot cards, is because you can't upload MP3s. You can't upload audios to YouTube for whatever reason. And so it's just easier to just do it like this, but to give you something to look at besides my typical situation on this table, I'm going to pick a card from the Keepers of the Light Oracle deck. And I'm going to, deal with it right now because I've been doing it for other signs and then forgetting to actually say what the card is all about. So that's, I'm a little bit sleep deprived. Okay. And we can say this is for the upcoming year. It's funny, I think I picked this for someone else. Saint Germain, karma, releasing, move beyond drama, create your own path, make room for good energy. I love these colors, just like my Morgan Greer deck. Okay. I'm going to just put that up there, and I'm going to just read you what it says so that I don't forget. And, eventually I'll know without having to read anything. But karma is the spiritual law of cause and effect. We experience many levels of karma. Some we inherit from our family and some from the people we keep helping out of problems they keep creating. Saint Germain is here now to clear your energies so that you no longer have the weight of the world or your loved one's world on your shoulders. Be aware that an old pattern is leaving your life and creating space for something more loving to enter. Visualize yourself surrounded by a fiery violet cloak to release all the karma you no longer need. And it's funny because I was thinking about that because this really does dovetail into that because I just typed out a few of the transits that are happening and some of the ones that are kind of long-term. I think the long-term transits are more important in a lot of ways because they are influencing you, beyond this year, or I should say 2017. And, talking about karma, I think like a lot of family stuff can be karma because more than, probably anything, I think, the family that we were born into, it really has a strong effect on us because it's at the time when we're most impressionable, when we're children. If you meet somebody now and you're 30, 40, 50 years old, you're not going to be as vulnerable to that person, hopefully, because you've lived enough to know that you have a lot more power than maybe you did when you were 10 years old and you were kind of like believing that that your parents were gods and that they could never steer you wrong. And you find out much too soon how how that can not be the case at all. And that's actually freeing when you can see your parents as just regular people that have their own issues. And either way, then you can forgive them easier too. If you don't hold them up to be these paragons of virtue, or it doesn't have to be about virtue, it just about, knowing it, being all knowing and all just being perfect and all knowing. Because the reason I bring up family, besides the fact that I picked Saint Germain and talking about karma, is that you have Neptune in this fourth house of home and family. This has been there since, I think it was 2011, not 100% on that, but it's going to be there until 2025. So you're still working through a lot of stuff. Gemini is not a particularly domestic sign. The air and fire signs tend to be much more independent and aloof, even sometimes from family ties. Doesn't mean you don't have children, that you don't make children, that you don't have a home maybe, or that you don't cook, but I'm just saying this in general. Maybe it's because it's yang energy, it's masculine energy, so it's more kind of involved in the world and more universal. Family life is subjective. It's your own little clan. There's us and there's them. Us and our family, we share the same DNA. They're the outsiders. So if you're the kind of person who is a typical Gemini, you might make friends, your whole life, and you're not going to be the type of person that, like, if I, know somebody when I'm 10 years old, I'm not going to necessarily make more friends when I'm 20 or 30. Gemini is very interested in people, and also very detached, very loves variety. So all of these things factor into this. And so for some of you, family can be a double-edged sword, where it can, if you get along with your family, it can be okay. But even then, you may resent any kind of suggestion that you conform to their ways and, do what they want to do. And with Neptune there is more of a sense of maybe confusion in regards to family. For instance, if you have Neptune in the fourth house in your natal chart, this can indicate that you grew up with addiction in your family, or mental illness, or just kind of things that were not as they seemed. They call it the family skeletons, kind of a natal placement. With the transiting Neptune, there can be similar themes of confusion, overly idealistic tendencies, not seeing things, for some reason putting blinders on when it comes to family. Chiron is also in this house as well, and Chiron is going to be leaving. I think it's in 2018. And then it goes into your fifth house of romance, and that can heal, your creativity. It can heal your relationships that you attract. But in the fourth house, Chiron is there to have you process. And Chiron can be, I feel Chiron can be a karmic influence. And it can indicate areas where there's pain that you experience as a result of family. This could be stuff from long, long ago. And it allows you to heal those wounds, those very old wounds. The thing to watch out for with Neptune in the fourth, also just on the mundane level, is any kind of flooding, any kind of if you move into, let's say you move into a new house or a new apartment, and you don't have all the information, and you find out all these things later. The house has termites, or is on a floodplain. The apartment is, there's some kind of ghosts in the apartment, because Neptune can deal with the mystical side of life, and so you never know if there's going to be some kind of poltergeist activity in your house, turned into Amityville Horror. No, I'm just kidding. But the other thing too is, I really think, Gemini, you're probably saying to yourself, wow, life is really heavy right now. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because sometimes Gemini is like a little bit, sometimes can be a little bit too light and too superficial in that sense. And now, you've got this gravitas, because you have Pluto in the 8th house, Pluto in its own house. Now, this is another water house. Like the 4th house is, universally ruled by Cancer, and the 8th is Scorpio. The 8th house deals with sex, death, and other people's money. metaphysics, the meaning of life, the mystery of life. So all of these things can kind of, make you a little bit more philosophical, but at the same time, well, philosophical isn't the right word, much more obsessed with uncovering the meaning of life. You may have kind of like glided along on the surface of life, and then all of a sudden, in 2008, you've delved, right in and started investigating, reincarnation and things like that. And the thing about it is that Pluto can actually be obsessive, because it just is like, it's one of the rulers of Scorpio along with Mars, and it really can deal with digging deep into something, at the core level, and it's almost like a detective trying to find out what's going on. And in this case, this is in an area that's about intimacy. So some of you, and even your own motivations, you may go into psychotherapy, but you may simply want to find out for yourself. It may not even be about somebody else telling you who you are, but you may, really undergo such a transformation that when you come out the other end in 2023, you may be unrecognizable. You may have changed so much. The 8th house can be of death and rebirth. You have Saturn in the 7th house. And see, this is another kind of a heavy aspect of Saturn in the house of relationships. But I shouldn't keep saying the word heavy. Serious is a better word. And to you, you may confuse one with the other. And you may be a little bit resentful of thinking that you have to think about all of these weighty issues. With Saturn in the 7th house, it can challenge your marriage or your committed partnership. It can like kind of point out areas that are weak. They say that when Saturn goes through the 7th house, if the relationship is not strong to begin with, it could definitely completely, be over with. And because of this, it seems like it's a little bit heavy, but if you feel like you have a good relationship, it'll just make you stronger. That saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. What doesn't kill your relationship makes it stronger. It's just going to be in this house throughout 2017. So it's not, we're already knee deep in Saturn and Sagittarius. So Saturn moves through one sign every 2.5 years. So it's not going to be, forever that it's in this house. Jupiter in Libra is your 5th house. Now this is a good sign, Gemini. This is a very good sign, especially if you're looking for love or you're an artist, because the 5th house can deal with falling in love, and it can deal with, having children too, I should say. And it can mean that you're very fertile if you're a woman, and also that, or an artist, I should say. And if you're an artist, you could be very prolific, but you could also find a relationship that's actually quite lucky for you. In other words, it could be something that really benefits you. And so this transit is going to be going on until October 11th, I think, to be exact, in Libra. Then it goes into Scorpio, and that's your 6th house of work, of everyday work. So that can be very good for you financially in a roundabout way. You may have more work than you know what to do with, but it's like definitely a good time to fall in love for most of the year. Your new moon is going to happen on the 25th of May. So this is your solar, well, your solar return is when the sun goes into the sign of Gemini. And so that will be just a few days before that, and then you'll have your new moon. So that's time to set intentions for what you want to manifest for the upcoming 12 months until your next solar return. And your career sector, you're going to have, well, in your second house of earned income, that new moon is happening on the 23rd of June. So this could be a new beginning in the money that you earn. And so that can be very good for adding money to you. Maybe you add a new income stream, for example. And then your 10th house is, gets its new moon on actually much earlier in the year, on the 25th of February, in the sign of Pisces. So this can be a time where you have a new beginning in your career, and that can be very good. So that's going to be probably, I would say, the first transit that, of all the things that I've mentioned, not the first transit that's going to happen in your chart altogether, but just in terms of what I'm mentioning, that will come first, this new moon in your 10th house of career. So just look at that period in late February as perhaps a boost to your stature. So I think that, it's not easy to wrap things up. I think that, this is a serious period of time for you in some ways, but actually the interesting thing is that having Jupiter in the 5th house really nicely balances it off. And the reason is because Jupiter is a very expansive energy, and the 5th house is all about fun and games. I didn't mention that part. It's also about amusements, entertainment. So I think that you're going to really be embracing, fun in your life. And, maybe even more so because you may feel like there are so many kind of more serious things going on that you want to enjoy yourself, and you will have ample opportunity to enjoy yourself and probably the money able to do it. The 5th house also deals with home businesses, so that can be very advantageous for you if you launch anything like that. So, good luck to you, Gemini. I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a natal chart interpretation or other type of my readings, I have a link below this video. Otherwise, have a great 2017. Bye.